If you want to understand why a Wall Street math genius with a PhD will just lose everything, while a kid who dropped a basket of eggs can actually build a fortune.
Right. Which sounds crazy, but it happens all the time.
It really does. But to understand why, you have to look at the one thing that algorithms just, cannot account for, and that is human ego.
Oh, absolutely. Ego is the ultimate variable.
Exactly. So welcome to today's deep dive. We are exploring the intersection of everyday life lessons and high-stakes stock market psychology.
And we're doing it through a surprisingly poignant narrative today.
Yeah, we are. It's not a textbook this time. It's this deeply personal childhood anecdote that somehow extracts these profound trading insights.
It really does.
So our mission for this deep dive is to explore how this simple story about a boy, a basket of broken eggs, and a secret that he kept for 10 whole years.
A decade.
Yeah, a decade.
Yeah.
How that story holds the ultimate blueprint for capital preservation and long-term success in the market.
I mean, the premise here really challenges the traditional view of trading. We're so conditioned to think of the market as this landscape of towering server farms and complex algorithmic arbitrage.
Right, the quantitative data models and all that.
Exactly. But if you strip away the latency speeds, you strip away the candlestick charts.
What's actually left?
Well, the market is ultimately just a mirror of human behavioral psychology.
Yeah.
The best strategies, the ones that actually allow a trader to survive multiple market cycles, they stem from managing cognitive blind spots, not just, running better math.
Okay, but before we can begin to analyze those cognitive blind spots, we really need to establish the foundational story that drives this entire philosophy.
Let's hear it.
So the narrative goes like this. A father sends his young son to the local shop to buy 10 eggs.
Okay, pretty standard chore.
Right. But on the way back, disaster strikes. The boy trips, he drops the basket, and literally every single egg is smashed.
Oh, no. I mean, as a kid, that is terrifying.
It is. He's absolutely terrified of going home empty-handed and facing that inevitable scolding.
Sure.
But instead of running home crying or, trying to invent some wild lie about a stray dog stealing the basket.
This is what I probably would have done.
Right, exactly. But he doesn't do that. He makes a highly unusual decision for a child. He goes right back to that same shop, explains he needs replacement eggs, and buys them on credit.
Wow.
Yeah. He takes on a 50 rupee debt, and then, for the next 10 years, entirely in secret, this boy saves every spare 1 and 2 rupee coin he can find to slowly, methodically pay off that 50 rupee debt.
That's just, 10 years of silent, unrewarded discipline.
Yeah.
Think about the daily temptations for a kid holding a spare coin. You've got candy, toys, just immediate gratification everywhere.
Oh, for sure.
Yet he bypassed all of that day after day, year after year, just to service a debt no one else even knew existed.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the psychology here is just fascinating to me. It's like this kid decided to carry a heavy, invisible backpack of responsibility every single day.
That's a great way to put it. An invisible backpack.
Yeah, for a decade.
Yeah.
And without asking for sympathy or help from anyone, he just quietly chipped away at the reality of his mistake.
Right.
But I guess my question is, how exactly does a 50 rupee debt in a local grocery store translate to the high-stakes, super fast-paced world of trading?
Well, what's fascinating here is the psychological bedrock of the boy's action. Think about what typically happens when a trader makes a mistake.
Like a bad call on a stock.
Yeah, especially one that results in a sudden, unexpected drawdown. The biological instinct is just pure panic.
Oh, yeah. The heart rate spikes.
Exactly. The amygdala fires up, cortisol floods the system, and the trader immediately looks for a shortcut to make the pain of the loss go away.
Right. They want to erase the mistake instantly,
Yeah,
like it never happened.
But this boy, he completely bypassed that panic response.
He did.
He took absolute ownership of a loss. He recognized the reality of his situation, accepted the debt without trying to magically wish it away, and he committed to a long-term, unglamorous solution.
Wow.
And that mirrors the exact psychological framework required to be a mature, successful trader.
Because losses are inevitable, right?
Yeah.
I mean, every trader drops the basket eventually.
Every single one. The amateur drops the basket, panics, and immediately tries to borrow 100 eggs on margin to make up for the lost 10.
Oh, man. And they usually break those too, right?
Almost always, because
Okay.
their decision-making is completely compromised by stress.
Makes sense.
But the professional, the survivor, really accepts that the eggs are broken, They assess the damage, update their risk models, and build a methodical plan to recover, even if it requires a grueling, extended time frame.
Yeah, and that concept shifts us toward a major argument in our source material, which is the idea that in the market, discipline completely and utterly outweighs raw intelligence.
Oh, 100%.
The text makes this really bold claim. It says, the market does not celebrate your intellect. The real trader is simply the one who does not quit.
Right.
But wait, I have to play devil's advocate here for a second.
Go for it.
Isn't the entire popular image of Wall Street built around the genius?
Oh, totally.
We hear constantly about the math prodigy who builds a predictive model, outsmarts the institutional algorithms, sees the matrix, and makes $1 million prediction.
Yeah, I mean, the narrative of the lone genius beating the system makes for great movies, but it's actually one of the most dangerous myths in finance.
Really?
Yeah. The source text directly challenges this because trying to be the smartest person in the room often leads to absolute ruin.
Huh. Why is that?
Well, intelligence, particularly a high IQ, combined with past academic success, it frequently breeds overwhelming overconfidence.
Okay, so how does that overconfidence physically manifest on a trading floor? Like, why does being quote-unquote too smart actually backfire?
Because a genius is used to being right. When they build a thesis and the market moves against them, their ego creates this massive cognitive dissonance. They look at their models, they look at the market, and their brain literally tells them, the market is wrong. I am right.
The market just hasn't realized it yet.
Exactly. So they hold on to a bad position, refusing to adapt until they're completely liquidated.
Ouch.
Discipline, on the other hand, requires profound humility.
Yeah.
It's the willingness to look at the screen and say, my thesis was invalidated. I don't know what happens next, so I will execute my stop loss and stick to my rules.
Wow.
The discipline to just keep showing up, following a risk management system, and taking the small, systematic wins like saving those 1 and 2 rupee coins is what actually ensures survival.
So it's the difference between relying on a brilliant, ego-driven prediction versus relying on a sustainable mechanical habit.
Exactly. The market is a probabilistic environment. You cannot predict it with absolute certainty, no matter how high your IQ is.
Right.
You can only manage your exposure to it. And that requires discipline, not genius.
Okay, so if discipline is the ultimate key to managing exposure, then we need to look at the primary threat to that discipline.
Agreed.
Yep. The source text breaks down 2 interconnected lessons regarding this: the danger of the greed trap and the sheer necessity of mastering what they call the art of the exit.
Which are the exact psychological barriers that typically separate retail traders from institutional success.
Yeah, and the source uses this incredibly vivid metaphor for this. They call it the road money concept.
I love this one.
It's so good. So imagine you're walking down the street and you find some money lying on the asphalt. The logical action is to quietly pick it up, put it in your pocket, and keep walking to your destination.
Right, you got lucky, take the win.
Exactly. But greedy people, they pick it up, and then they literally stand there in the middle of the street, staring at the sky, waiting for more money to fall.
Which is a metaphor that perfectly captures the irrationality of a trader refusing to close a profitable position.
Yeah.
But let's ground that metaphor in the actual mechanics of the market for a second. Let's say you're standing in a busy intersection. You picked up the dollar. The pedestrian countdown timer is flashing 3, 2, 1.
The warning signs are there.
Right, those are your technical indicators flashing overbought. The smart move is to step onto the curb with your profit.
Makes sense.
But the greedy trader stays in the intersection, staring at the asphalt, looking for one more dollar. And then the market cycle shifts. The traffic light turns green for the opposing institutional algorithms, and those gains are completely flattened.
Oh, man. And here's where it gets really interesting, because the psychology of leaving the intersection is so incredibly counterintuitive to human nature.
It really is.
In almost every other competitive endeavor, we are taught to push for more. Run faster, score higher, maximize the output.
Always push the limits.
Right. But here, knowing exactly when to stop, when to leave the party while the music is still playing, that is considered the true mark of intelligence.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the psychology of the exit is arguably the most difficult human behavior to master because you are actively fighting your own neurochemistry.
Fighting your own brain.
Yeah. Entering a trade is easy, it's filled with hope and potential, but when you are in a profitable trade, your brain is flooded with dopamine.
You feel like a genius.
You feel validated, you feel powerful. Hitting that sell button to secure a profit means intentionally shutting off your own dopamine tap. And humans hate doing that.
Oh, wait, let me push back on this idea of taking these small, rapid exits.
Okay.
Isn't the golden rule of investing to let your winners ride?
Yeah.
If I am constantly taking a tiny 1% profit just to secure a win and shut off the dopamine, won't trading fees, slippage, and taxes just eat me alive?
That's a fair point.
Like, shouldn't a trader wait for the massive parabolic move?
You're touching on a classic debate here, but there's a crucial distinction between investing and active trading.
Okay, what's the difference in this context?
Well, yes, long-term investors hold through volatility. But for an active trader, unrealized gains are just illusions on a screen.
Right. They aren't yours yet.
They aren't real until you exit. The text argues for small, consistent profits because the longer you stay in a highly leveraged or volatile position, waiting for a parabolic move, the higher your exposure to sudden, unpredictable market shifts.
So it's about minimizing the time you're exposed to risk.
Exactly. Securing that profit, even a modest one, requires you to choose reality over potential. The exit is where the fantasy of infinite wealth meets the harsh reality of discipline.
That deep.
When a trader stares at the sky waiting for more money, they're letting greed override their risk parameters. The market inevitably turns, the unrealized profit evaporates, and the psychological devastation of watching a massive green number turn red.
Oh, that's the worst feeling.
It often causes the trader to just freeze.
Yeah, it's the cognitive pain of loss aversion. It actually hurts more to lose 50% of a profit you never actually realized than it does to just lose the initial capital. So if a trader ignores the exit, stays in the intersection, gets flattened by the traffic, and takes a significant hit, how should they react?
This brings us to the source's concepts of survival and the extreme danger of revenge trading.
Right, revenge trading. This is where a bad trade devolves into a blown account, isn't it?
Oh, this is the account killer right here.
The text is explicitly clear on this rule. It says smart money does not act like a hero. They act like survivors.
Survive to trade another day.
Exactly. When a significant loss happens, a trader must never immediately gamble more money just to win it back. The ultimate rule is capital preservation. Because if you lose your capital today, you are stripped of the ability to participate tomorrow.
Let's look at the mathematical reality of why capital preservation is so critical and why revenge trading is honestly mathematically suicidal.
Hit me with the math.
The math of drawdowns is brutal. If you start with $100,000, right, and you lose 50% because you refuse to exit.
You're down to $50,000.
Right. To get back to your original $100,000, you don't need a 50% gain.
Wait, really?
No. You need a 100% gain. You have to double your money just to break even.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the hole gets exponentially deeper.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean for the trader in that moment? Let's connect this directly back to the boy with the eggs.
Let's do it.
Imagine if, after dropping the eggs and taking on that 50 rupee debt, the boy felt the sting of the loss and immediately took his first few saved coins to a back alley to gamble them.
In a desperate double or nothing game.
Yeah, because he wanted to fix the 50 rupee problem overnight. He might have lost those coins too.
And then what?
He would have eventually been forced to confess, ruined his reputation, alienated the shopkeeper, and completely destroyed his foundation.
Oh.
But by refusing to act like a hero, by refusing to seek revenge on his bad luck, he survived.
This raises an important question about the role of ego in the aftermath of a loss.
Yeah.
Why do traders revenge trade knowing the math of drawdowns is against them?
Because they're mad.
Because their ego is severely bruised. The market just proved them wrong. And they feel this biological urge to fight back, to prove to the screen that they are smart.
Right.
So they increase their position size, they ignore their stop losses, and they try to force a winning trade. But the market doesn't know you exist.
It's just numbers on a screen.
It has no vendetta against you. The goal of a trade isn't to win a dramatic battle against an invisible enemy and boast about it. The goal is simply to protect your remaining chips so you can sit at the table tomorrow.
Capital preservation over ego validation. You just have to accept the broken eggs.
Surviving the market without letting your ego dictate a frantic, cortisol-fueled recovery is the ultimate victory. The moment you try to force the market to give your money back, you are no longer trading based on probabilities.
You're just gambling.
You are gambling blindly to soothe your pride.
Which perfectly weaves all these concepts. the invisible backpack of responsibility, the danger of the intersection greed trap, the biological resistance to the exit, and the mathematical necessity of avoiding revenge into an overarching formula for long-term wealth.
And the source text distills this entire philosophy down to one single word.
Consistency.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is the most unglamorous yet structurally powerful word in financial psychology.
Taking small, continuous, planned profits is what actually builds immense wealth over time. And to drive this home, the text provides a quote from Warren Buffett.
Always a good source.
Right. He says, "The market transfers money from the impatient to the patient."
And that is not just a philosophical quote. It is a literal description of physical market mechanics.
Yeah. I had this total aha moment reading that. Think about how perfectly that idea validates the boy's 10-year journey.
He was the absolute embodiment of market patience.
He didn't have a large influx of capital. He didn't have inside information or a high-frequency trading algorithm. He just had spare 1 and 2 rupee coins, and he had time.
Time is the ultimate leverage.
Yeah. He extracted small amounts of value, quietly and consistently over a decade. He outlasted the initial panic, and he ignored the temptation to rush the process.
When you synthesize this entire ecosystem of market behavior, you realize that the real edge isn't proprietary software. No, the edge is the ability to act exactly like that patient little boy. It is taking the profit you have quietly, refusing to rush the recovery of a loss, accepting your mistakes without ego, and simply outlasting the erratic, impatient players around you.
The patient ones are the ones standing in the intersection waiting for road money.
Exactly. They're the ones revenge trading and fighting the math of drawdowns. And the market, through bid-asks, spreads, liquidations, and margin calls, is mathematically designed to siphon capital from their highly leveraged accounts and deposit it into the accounts of the patient.
Wow. It's a slow, methodical transfer of wealth, driven entirely by emotional discipline rather than raw intelligence.
Consistency isn't about capturing a massive, heroic 1,000% return in a single week. It is about executing your system, capturing the realistic return, shutting off the dopamine, and doing it again and again. The boy didn't need a massive windfall to solve his 50 rupee problem. He just needed unwavering consistency.
So, to you, listening to this right now, the practical application of this deep dive extends far beyond managing a stock portfolio.
Absolutely.
The next time you are facing a significant setback, whether it's a failed project at work, a blown deadline, or just a mistake in your personal life, remember the boy with the broken eggs.
Such a powerful image.
You don't need to be the hero who fixes everything in one dramatic gesture. You don't need an immediate magical fix that risks the foundation you have left.
You just need to take ownership of the broken eggs, assess the reality of the damage, and start quietly gathering your coins.
Take your small wins. Know when to step out of the intersection before greed traps you. Do not let your bruised ego push you into a revenge spiral.
Yeah.
And fiercely protect your baseline so that you have the capital, both financial and emotional, to wake up and try again tomorrow.
And I'll leave you with this final thought to mull over. If the stock market is simply an efficiency mechanism for transferring wealth from the impatient to the patient, consider your own life. What other areas, your career progression, your relationships, even your physical health, are silently penalizing you for rushing the process? And where could a 10-year coin-saving mindset completely rewrite your long-term trajectory?